can't give what you don't have. When you are talking about integrity, you are really talking about the real person, who that person is.
When you talk of integrity, you talk of honesty. To be honest. And to be honest means to be trustworthy, to be truthful. And politics is science and art of government.
Politics is about the people.
Yes.
And if you talk about it in a deeper sense, it has to do with how people take decisions on how to lead themselves.
Hello everyone, you're welcome to this edition of the program Christians in Politics. I am Chukwuemeka Anyokwa, and we are reaching you live from our broadcast studios in Abuja, Nigeria. You're welcome. Since the independence of Nigeria in 1960, there have been yearnings and cries by some quarters to have fair and equitable distribution of the nation's resources to the component tribes, irrespective of their landmass and population. These cries of marginalization and exclusion brought about the first civil war in the country, as well as other uprisings that have threatened the unity of the country. While some lay ownership claims to the vast mineral resources in the country, others are of the opinion that the amalgamation of 1914 is a marriage of two strange bedfellows which shouldn't have been contracted in the first place. From the east to the west, from the north to the south, it is crystal clear that the unity of the country is being threatened every day as tensions and violence brew in the air, thereby questioning the peace of the nation. This and many other things have brought about the recent calls for restructuring of the country's federalism. That what should be done to save the country from the impending danger of disintegrating the nation at this critical time in her history? Is Nigeria better united or divided? Is there any other solution to the recent upheavals and agitations aside restructuring? Do you think the Nigerian government should give in to referendum being asked for by the IPOB? Joining me here in the studio to discuss these issues are Barrister Chris Moneke, a legal luminary and the principal partner of Intergeneration Solicitors Abuja, and the Venerable Joseph Unwai, who is the Director of Political and Civic Affairs in the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion and chaplain to the National Assembly. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, from the southeast to the south to the northeast to the west, everywhere the atmosphere is tensed. What goes to your mind when you see all these things?
Thank you. Like you rightly stated, from the southeast to the south-south, so even the north-central, there is tension everywhere. People asking for disintegration, restructuring. But I want to ask you a question. What do we really understand the situation is on the ground? All this is as a result of bad governance. Our leaders are not doing what is right. And their agitation has grown so tense that people need to have the situation on the ground restructured so that there will be hope for the future. Thank you.
Venerable, what do you think of this, the goings on in the polity as it is right now?
No, it presents a picture that Nigeria is not yet one the way it's supposed to be. Because when you see different enclaves clamoring for one thing or the other, and it's getting to the magnitude where it is now, it shows that something is basically wrong somewhere. I think there may be some fundamental issues that need to be resolved. And one of those issues is the issue of restructuring, so that the country can stand where the way is supposed to be. It's really not a funny thing, especially recent threats from left and right makes the ordinary Nigeria very uncomfortable. And I have not seen even the government taking the desired steps to properly address these issues. We shouldn't wait till it gets out of hand before we begin to run helter-skelter.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. In 1967, Nigeria went through a civil war which left the eastern part of the country devastated, killing about 3 million people. After the civil war, it took about 40 years till we started hearing this issue of agitation and secession. Why do you think these issues are coming up right now? Is there any, what happened? Is there any correlation between now and 1967?
Yeah, but what I think is that the wounds have not been properly healed. See, whenever there is a crisis or a war, civil war for that matter in any country, there is need thereafter to deliberately integrate the people again. The consciousness of ethnicity is already there. It was blown out of proportion by the civil war. And don't forget, so many things led to the civil war. People don't just get up and pick arm and begin to rebel against the country. They had their concern, their demands, and the question is, has all these things been addressed? Has the things that led to the civil war, have they been properly addressed?
Things like what, sir?
When you are talking about marginalization, has the issue of marginalization been properly addressed?
Let me ask you, sir.
When it comes to things like...
Do you think the Igbos are really marginalized? You know, the recent past government boasts to have been the only government that gave the Igbos the highest number of appointments in the federal government. Why do you think the Igbos are marginalized?
Now, I'm not an Igbo man, but from the little I can see, I think the country need to do more. These were the people supposedly who rebelled against the country, and I say they had their concerns. I'm not sure those concerns have been properly addressed. When you are talking about marginalization, I was born immediately after the Civil War. I'm now going to 50 years. And from that time till now, I've never seen an Igbo president in this country. What do you call that? Is it that there's no qualified Igbo man to rule this country?
Well, you know, politics is a game of numbers. And,
no, when you go deeper, let us be realistic. It's only truth that can save this country. When you go deeper, you see that there's a kind of an unwritten agenda to keep some people where they are so that they can't go beyond that point because of fear, or I call it unnecessary fear. All these things need to be looked into. And some people have carelessly spoken in different quarters, make statements that makes we are talking about Igbo in particular now, that makes them to know that Igbos have not been forgiven. So now, I say I'm not an Igbo man. There's never a time there's never a time I visited Igbo part of this very country that I didn't have cause to weep for this very country. In terms of infrastructure, the last time I traveled to the east by air, I was almost developing hypertension inside the car because I was stuck on the road because of the bad nature of the road, and the time for me to catch my flight was running out, and I began to wonder, why should this part of the country be left like this?
Okay, so let me put you on a hold there. Yeah. Barrister, Little is saying that he thinks the Igbos are being marginalized in this country.
To a large extent.
What do you think?
He has actually spoken my mind. I'm from the eastern part of the country, and then quite well, what he is saying is apt and very correct. If you go down the eastern part of this country, there is no infrastructure. He has just given an instance of road. And to worsen the situation, even the governors were having who are meant to come and project that part of the country are not doing what they're supposed to do.
People like
the governors we have in the eastern part of the country. I come from Imo State, Anambra, Enugu. You think of.
Let me put you on a hold there,
yes.
sir. The governor of Anambra State, the immediate past governor, and even this current one have been adjudged one of the best in the country.
I agree with you.
It depends. It also depends on the parameter you are using.
No, what
they have won laurels and awards for being the best governors of education.
I will stand to tell you here now that Anambra State, if you go down the whole of the eastern part of the country, is only state where you will go and identify a visible infrastructure. Road network in Anambra is good.
So who do you blame? I mean, who do you blame for the non-development in other parts of
It's the leadership.
So that means we have a leadership problem.
We have a leadership problem.
And not just the federal government.
Beyond the east, we have it in the federal government, we have it in the
because
east.
Some people are saying that if the Igbos want to be integrated into the federal structure, they should first of all treat themselves well. You know, the governor should first of all treat themselves well before asking for whatever it is they're asking for.
Okay, take for instance my state. Go to the state capital, which is Owerri. You weep for the state. The last I saw befitting infrastructure was when late Sam Mbakwe was the governor of Imo State. The only place where you can see good and solid road is from the community where this weeping governor, as he was called then, came from. You go there, you still see track of the things he did. But beyond him, we've cannot beat our chest and say, look, we've had good governance from our governors. We don't have road. You're not talking of even water. You're not talking of electricity. The road where the common masses, the common man on the street makes use of, which brings all of us to par, whether big or small, rich or poor. We don't have it.
So who is to blame? Who is to blame for this?
You've asked me before and I said it's the governance, the leadership of the various states, and which you gave me an instance of Anambra State. I quite agree with you. I have gone through the whole of Anambra State as a state, and I give kudos to the past, immediate past and the present governor of those states. They have good road network, which is one thing the common man in Anambra State will stand up and say, oh, thank God, we've had good leadership.
All right, sir. Venerable, do you think we have leadership failure in this country? The barrister I just mentioned the states in the eastern part where the governors are not living up to their expectations. Do you think our leaders in the federal government and in the states have failed the citizens of this country?
The agitations here and there, left and right, is an attestation to the fact that there is bad leadership. Even the Bible that we hold as our holy book says, when the righteous rules, the people will rejoice. But when the unrighteous man is on the throne, the people will mourn. One of the greatest problems we have had in this country is the problem of leadership. If the leaders of this nation really wake up to their own responsibility, things will change overnight. You see, the problems of Nigeria are not insurmountable problems. These are problems that can be handled, and these are problems that other nations have fixed in their own way. My son was just speaking to me when we were driving to the studio and was talking about Kenya, and that their rail system is now one of the best in the world. And he was talking about their rail terminals, that you go to their rail terminal, it's like one of the best airport terminals you can see anywhere in the world. And he was trying to tell me the amount used is to build some of those terminals, and trying to compare it with what we are having in Nigeria. See, it's a pity. We are talking about billions upon billions of nairas, sometimes dollars, and yet you really don't have something reasonable to show for it. And the things that are put there, because of failure of leadership, they are not well maintained. And when it comes to general orientation of the country, most people are disenchanted with what is going on in the country generally. So it's failure of leadership.
Where do you think we got it all wrong? I can remember that in the past, Nigeria used to be a very big country. There was a documentary I saw of the then Prime Minister when he went to the States. The whole country stood still, awaiting his arrival. How did we miss it? At what point? Who brought about this bad leadership?
I think. Okay.
No worry, Venerable, can you continue?
I think when you ask me, I will say one, the discovering of oil affected the leadership in this very country. I'm a priest. From experience, I've discovered that when you post a priest to a church that is well built, everything is flowing, there's money, and the congregation is full, there's this temptation to relax. And you may not be thinking right, and you still think you are a priest, you are ministry, but you will know that you are now weak, you are deficient in so many areas. But when you are thrown into a parish that is just upcoming, that is still grappling on how to source for fund, that has projects to build and things to do, you'll be thinking 24 hours. You become innovative. You'll be thinking of how to move the place forward. But when you are in a place that is already well built, you have problems. So that is where I blame the issue of, the problem of leadership on the oil we discover in this nation. We discovered this oil immediately after the independence, and immediately they saw that there is free money to use. Everyone relaxed. So it's a question of when you talk about leaders in Nigeria, the concept is I go there and I take my share. Then how to distribute the national cake. Distribution of national cake is not what constitutes leadership. Our leaders are not innovative. Most of our leaders have no foresight. Like the ones that fought for independence and started things in this nation. So there have been a problem because of this oil that we discovered that made Nigeria to drop every other thing. It's about coming to share money. That is one. Then the coming of the military also affected the psyche of this very nation. Today, you still discover that every average Nigeria leader is still behaving like a dictator. He still have that trace of dictatorship, which is which came from the military.
I'd like you to call somebody's name.
No, wait. No, hold on. We cannot.
Sorry.
You can't hold one single individual responsible for the problem of the nation. Now, the question of calling name is not the issue. Even if we decide to name a particular person, we might not be 100% correct. The truth is that majority of our leaders have not done well. That is the truth. You heard what he said just now. He was talking about his state. He mentioned one governor. If you go to my state, I can mention two that have shown good example. Person like Ogbemudia, who just died of recent, did very well. His marks are still seen in Edo State today. Person like Ambrosali, his marks can still be seen in Edo State today. But outside those people I just mentioned in the state, which other one can you raise your cap for and say this person really led like a governor or like a good leader? When you come to the national level, how many person can you point to? You say during his time, this is what Nigeria had, and they can show it to the world today.
Okay, so let me put you on a hold. Barrister, what are your thoughts? You think we failed in our leadership?
Yes, I would want to agree with the Venerable. We have, our leaders have failed us. Because I know growing up, there's this statement, and it's still being said up until today, that the leaders of tomorrow are the young ones. but you still see the old ones recycling themselves.
They've refused.
Over and over.
Refused to go. They would rather die on the seat and hand over to their next generation. If you keep trying the same group of people, it's just like in breeding animal, and you bring the same animal to breed them together. You won't get anything different from what
is on ground before.
So you need to give trial. Okay, look at France, for instance. We have a leader of 30-something years.
39.
I am not sure of the age, but
39 years.
Very well. Look at our own leader. What's the age bracket? What can we get from that? Is it not recycling of old style, old system?
So,
and we are talking, we need to have freshness in ideas. Do we have it here in this country?
So the question I'm asking is, where did we...
Sorry, before you go further, you asked a question. You say, where did we get it wrong?
Yes.
In this part of the world, we are laid back. Laid back in the sense that ever since oil was discovered, nobody is interested in any other thing. Other than waiting for the national cake. Take, for instance, some states are being blessed with their own natural resources that could make them stand on their own. But because of the laid-back attitude and the laziness on our part and the leaders, nothing is done. We're all looking forward to coming to Abuja at the end of the month.
They'll come and collect something.
And go back. Recently, you read in the newspapers and on the media that the Paris money being given out is not properly being utilized, and it's ending up in somebody's pocket. You can imagine situations like that. What is that? What should be obtainable in the 21st century? When others are going further, very soon people will start walking to the moon and not flying, and yet we'll remain where we are.
Now let me quickly take something on leadership.
Okay.
Because I came to the studio from the National Assembly, and when my son saw the convoy that followed one of the principal officers to the place, they came to drop him at the back. You know what my son said? A young boy, he said, Kai, politics is really something, it's the only thing in Nigeria. Everyone need to get into politics. That is a wrong signal.
Very wrong.
That is a wrong signal. Why was he saying so? He saw the flashing. In fact, he even said, can you see the messages this guy is writing? Okay, sir. Now, that's a wrong signal to the youth. That is not providing good leadership. So I just want to take on that to tell you what the signal the leaders are giving to this country is not good.
Sir, can I put it to you that the clerics, the religious leaders, have failed also in instilling in the congregation, in their congregants?
Now, you a lawyer, why are you putting it to me? When did you start putting it to the clergy now?
Everywhere you go in the country, you see a whole lot of churches. Yes. Everywhere, each pole you see a church or a mosque, yet we are still complaining about bad leadership. Does it mean our religious leaders have also failed us?
Now, see, don't blame the bad leadership on religious leaders. Religious leaders have their congregation that they are leading.
And the congregation is part of the people in the society.
Yes, I agree with you.
Everybody, all the leaders go to church or the mosque. So
I agree with you.
Where are these people coming from?
Have you read a portion in the Bible that says they have ears, they do not hear? They have eyes, but they are not seeing. Have you read in the Bible where it was saying that this generation is like... it can be compared to a papa that is playing, but people have refused to dance. So, leaders, don't condemn the church or the mosque for the failure of this very country. Only God knows what would have been the situation if not because of the crying of the men of God and women of God in this very nation. Only God knows what the situation would have been like. I quite agree that the church cannot claim to be 100% perfect or exonerated. Where I really blame the church is the fact that for some time, I think the trend is going down now. Yeah. There was a time in the country where it's like churches were kind of singing the praises of some of these people, which to me was not too good. They were giving them awards, this or that, maybe because they want to get something. And why? It's because they are the only people controlling the whole economy of the nation. They are the only people holding the whole money. The leaders have strangled this country, and they are holding everything. They are holding the cake. They are holding the knife in their hand. That is why every person seems to be looking up to them in order to survive. But the church have also realized, and I believe the mosque, the Muslims have also realized that I think if we continue to go along with these people, we all fall into a very big dish. And so they have kind of pulled back now, and they are trying to attack from different angles, try to cancel whichever language we want to use. But the question is, are these people listening to us? Are they listening to us? I just finished preaching a message in the National Assembly now before coming to this studio. How many of them are listening? Even the church members who are members of House of Rep, who are senators, how many of them are there? Just now, I use one of the senators, is always regular in the program, as an example when I was preaching there this morning, that look, if we can get up to 15 senators like this man in the whole country, things will be good. Many of them are there. Are they representing the church? How many times do you see them in church, even on Sunday? Do you see them in weekly activities where we study the Bible? And those of them that come, the word they hear, do they apply it at all? So that is the issue. So you cannot force somebody to be converted. Our duty as priests is to preach the gospel, the undiluted word of God. Your duty as a layman is to hear and go and do what you have heard.
And even obey the rules they are making.
Yes.
And where you get it wrong or not obeying the rules, you become a scapegoat.
All right, let me put you on hold here. If you are watching us, remember you can join the conversation via Facebook, following the handle facebook.com/ACNNTV. Drop your comments and your questions, and we'll try as much as possible to address them here. Finally, before we go on a short break, sir, what do you think of the people calling for a roundtable discussion to negotiate the marriage of this country? Do you think they have ulterior motives? Do you think their intentions are genuine?
It depends on the angle you are looking at it. There is absolutely need for there to be a roundtable discussion. Let us not run away from the fact there is absolute marginalization. It is not only from the part where I come from various parts of this country, there is marginalization. Take for instance in the present regime we are in now. I can count how many politicians, let me use that word politicians, from my own region that are in government. You can count maybe 1, 2, 3 of them that are holding principal offices. But when you are talking of kitchen cabinets, you can see many of them there. Why must it be so? If we are saying we are holding is a federal system we are running, from the little I know about federalism, is a system of government where power is in the center and there are units.
Yeah, federating units.
And then the center has a major share. But that does not mean the other units don't have their powers. There are certain powers they run concurrently, there are powers they run residually and exclusively to the central power. But those ones that are concurrent, is it actually concurrent? That's the question.
All right, if you are watching us, this is Christians in Politics coming to you from the broadcast studios of the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be telling you there was a declaration actually some weeks ago, and there was a counter declaration, and we'll go straight to talk about those declarations by the time we come back from this break. Join us again.
The Arewa youth have no mandate to ask any Nigerian to vacate in any part of this nation.
We should all unite to surmount the difficulties that we have. I issued a statement in my state. I said nobody is given any quick notice. Everybody should stay and enjoy his stay in Plateau State.
I don't think it was something that we should take very seriously.
The Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN, is your most reliable gospel TV station that brings to you quality TV programming which build your spiritual life and enhance your walk with God through the undiluted Word of God. Join us on our social media platforms anytime you miss your favorite program. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with the address www.youtube.com/ACNNTV and click that video that matters to you.
Protect your vote is a euphemistic way of saying do everything to make sure you can share blood, you can kill to ensure that the person you voted for is the one that emerged as winner at the end of the day.
There is never a dull moment on our Facebook page as we are dedicated to keep you informed with the up-to-date news about the church and other information. Just log on to www.facebook.com/ACNNTV for you can now watch some of our programs live on your mobile device. Follow us on Twitter with the handle at acnntv.com and you'll be glad you did. So now, there is no longer regret each time you miss any episode of your favorite programs, as you can now watch them on the go, anytime, anywhere. ACNN. We are indeed reaching the world with the undiluted Word of God. Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN, is your most reliable gospel TV station that brings to you quality TV programming which build your spiritual life and enhance your walk with God through the undiluted Word of God. Join us on our social media platforms anytime you miss your favorite program. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with the address www.youtube.com/ACNNTV and click that video that matters to you.
Protect your vote is a euphemistic way of saying do everything to make sure you can share blood, you can kill to ensure that the person you voted for is the one that emerged as winner at the end of the day.
There is never a dull moment on our Facebook page as we are dedicated to keep you informed with the up-to-date news about the church and other information. Just log on to www.facebook.com/ACNNTV for you can now watch some of our programs live on your mobile device. Follow us on Twitter with the handle at acnntv.com and you'll be glad you did. So now, there is no longer regret each time you miss any episode of your favorite programs, as you can now watch them on the go, anytime, anywhere. ACNN. We are indeed reaching the world with the undiluted Word of God.
If you're just joining us, this is Christians in Politics coming to you from the broadcast studios of the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN, and we have been discussing the marriage of the country Nigeria, you know, the very existence of the country. I have been discussing with Barrister Chris Moneke, who is the principal partner of Intergeneration Solicitors here in Abuja, and Venerable Joseph Unoya, who is the Director of Civic and Political Affairs in the Church of Nigeria, Anglican Communion. Before we went on break, Venerable, some weeks ago there was a declaration called the Arewa Youth Declaration, asking the Igbo people who are residing in the north to vacate before the 1st of October 2017. You know, a lot of people have said, come on, they are youth, they don't know anything. And people are saying we should take into cognizance what the average northern Muslim is capable of doing and leave the north. That's for the people residing in the north. What do you make of this declaration, this quit notice?
Well, for me, it's an irresponsible declaration, and it's a sign that we really have problem in our hands to deal with. For me as an individual, I don't take any threat from the North as a joke. And so I rather advise the government to sit up, to stop whatever those people have in mind to do, than just coming to the air to say
all right, Venerable, let me put you on a hold there. Just very recently, the southern leaders gathered in Lagos and had a closed-door meeting. At the end of the day, they gave the federal government an ultimatum still on the 1st of October 2017 to consider the report of the 2017 confab. The spokesperson of Afenifera, a pan-Yoruba social cultural group, Yinka Odumakin, was the man who said this, that the federal government should, as a matter of urgency, address the confab report before the 1st of October. And we have a video clip for that meeting. Let's see it.
The strongest terms, the activities of Fulani herdsmen who have taken over the entire southern Nigeria and middle belt of Nigeria, including invading state assemblies not to make laws, cows going to classrooms to force our... In the strongest terms, the activities of Fulani herdsmen who have taken over the entire southern Nigeria and middle belt of Nigeria, including invading state assemblies not to make laws, cows going to classrooms to force our pupils out of school, killing our farmers in their farms and raping their wives. Only a few days ago, the governor of Delta State said that farmers are now being escorted to their farms by policemen. That's not happening in our country. And yet, we have law and order looking away, the way they are looking away against the Arewa youths who have given a notice that can destroy the unity of Nigeria. In the strongest terms, the activities of Fulani herdsmen
Sir, can you, I don't know if you got wind of what he was trying to say, that they in stronger terms, the declaration of the Arewa youth. What do you make of that?
You know, I started by saying it's an irresponsible declaration, and it shows that they don't really want this country to remain as one. And I was trying to say that in response to your question, that I don't take any threat coming from the North or the youths in the North as just mere threat. The earlier the government wake up to their responsibility and stop whatever those people are planning to do, the better for us. Then what Odumakin was talking about points us back to the question you raised before about bad leadership. Do we really need to wait for Odumakin and his colleague in the West to come and be calling for a visitation of a revisitation of the 2014 confab report? It shows irresponsibility. Administration is supposed to be a continuous one. If there's anything that Jonathan government did that legacy will remember him for, posterity will remember him for, is that confab that was constituted, because before that time agitation had been on for years that we should have that confab, and it was done. Millions upon millions of Nigeria hard-earned money went into it. Then to say that such a report is dropped and no one is looking at it, it will just trivialize it, and we are now waiting for fire to be burning before some people are now calling
for the report to be revisited, I mean, it's very sad. You remember that there was an episode we did in this very studio where we here were calling for a revisitation. We were calling on the present government not to sweep that very report under the carpet, because I was not a member of that cover, but from what we could get from outside, most of the things that we enhance the unity of this very country, the things that we make this country to move forward, were all discussed in that very confab, and they are contained in that very report. Why should leaders throw such a report away?
The governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, says that one of the reasons why the confab report shouldn't be taken seriously was because the then Jonathan government did not involve the right stakeholders.
What does he mean by that?
What?
So
people like El-Rufai should be watched. People, listen, my brother. Listen, my brother.
Hold on, Venerable. I want to draw your attention back to a statement you made earlier on. You call it a declaration. I refuse to accept that word declaration. It is no declaration because there is no, quote and unquote, a common agreement between the youths and the elites that made that comment. Why am I saying this? A group of people could come out together and make such statement, and it's carried up in the air. If you are saying it's a declaration, there must have been a consensus agreement for that statement to have been made.
Are you saying it has it's an illegal gathering?
Yeah.
So why haven't they been arrested after?
That is the question. That is the question where I'm heading for. Why have they not been arrested?
Yeah, that is where the conspiracy of silence comes in.
And then you now know there are people in authority. If they are sure that is a consensus agreement, let them also, even the elders should come out and say yes.
So you think it's actually a conspiracy?
It is a conspiracy.
So quit.
It is a conspiracy. So quit. But let me also remind us something. Nigeria is now like a failed cable in a system that when you are putting it on, other than giving you what you want, everything is operating in different directions. You go to the west will tell you what they want. Go to the east, the IPOB is there to tell you what they want. You go to the north, they have their own statement. Why? It is still boiling down to what we have been saying, bad leadership. If we get it right, the Bible says, if the head is right, the entire body will be
okay.
The head is bad. Let the head be put right, and everything along the line will be right and fine.
Okay, let me ask you, Barrister. The confab report seems to be coming up all the time at different places by different people. Do you think this confab report is an antidote to the Nigerian problem?
Yes, I strongly believe that.
Even when people accuse the then government of not involving the right stakeholders?
Listen, who are the
right stakeholders? Now,
this is a question.
Who are the right stakeholders?
You are one, I am one.
You know the APC was not part of the confab.
You are talking of politics. Now you're bringing in political parties.
That's the accusation.
APC was not in existence then. Don't forget that. What you have then was ACN.
The governor of Kaduna State is saying that they were not involved.
Was he not relevant in that government?
Let me hear your view.
Wait. Must El-Rufai as an individual be part of the confab before it becomes valid?
Not him as a person, but the northern.
Was there any sector of this?
Right people,
my brother,
set of stakeholders.
Give it to Jonathan's government.
You are now qualifying it, right stakeholders.
That's what he says.
Who are the right stakeholders?
And who are the wrong stakeholders?
Who are the wrong ones?
Traditional rulers?
Are you not one?
Wait.
Have they not mortgaged your future?
Now let's move ahead, sir.
No, hold on.
You need to answer my question.
You can't be asking me if they've mortgaged my future.
Now, let's go back to your question. Yeah. Talking about right stakeholder. Which sector of this country was not involved? Were traditional rulers not involved? Were clergy not involved? Were imams not involved in that conference? These are people that are not politicians.
Players in the economic sector.
Players in the economic sector. Were they not involved? Were youths not involved? And the academicians, were they not involved? Then when you come to the people that were in the corridor of power, Was PDP only Southerner or Westerners or Easterners? Were the PDP members that were in government then, the senators that were involved, the rep members that were involved, were they not representing Nigeria? Must we have the crop of people presently in the present party in that conference to make it a valid something? So we need to call spade a spade. Government is a continuous thing. That is one of the failure of leadership we are talking about, that in this very country there is no continuity in anything. One government will come and do whatever it wants to do, and the other government will come and overturn the table. For how long are we going to continue that round cycle?
Now, a lot of people are also saying that one of the reasons why the confab report will not be taken so seriously is because it will put the North in disadvantage.
Which disadvantage? Were they not there? Were they not in majority in that conference?
That is because that's why I asked the first time.
Most of the issues, I was very close to some stakeholders who were in that very conference. There were some who were personal friends whom I was privileged to interact with. Even in that very conference, the North were holding them on the neck.
On the jugular.
I'm telling you. So most of the things that they agreed upon, it was with the full consensus of everybody and the elders in the North.
All right, let me put you on a hold here. Sir, just recently we've been hearing calls for restructuring. Former head of state, Ibrahim Babangida, has called for
where people like Babangida is now talking, you can now see
for restructuring.
that there's an issue.
The vice president is asking for restructuring. A whole lot of people, even in the North, are asking for restructuring. And we're beginning to ask, are these people what you call political jobbers who are out of business and now looking for relevance? Is that why they are asking for restructuring? Yeah. Because at a point when they were in power, most of them...
Did they allow it?
They refused. You have taken a word out of my mind. One, they are political jobbers who are out of job looking for relevance. When they were
that's an accusation anyway.
No. Secondly, when they were in power, why did they not allow it? Why are they calling for it now? Simply because there is agitation. If Nigeria was comfortable for everybody, I bet you nobody will ask for restructuring. But I want to ask a question. When you are talking of restructuring, what is the idea behind the restructuring? Is it disintegration? Or restructuring in quote to every part of this country getting? Is an indirect way of we telling the leadership we no longer want federalism, we want confederation. Let the center be there but weak, and let's all go back.
We'll get to that. Let me ask this question, because one of the reasons why we need to restructure, or people say we need to restructure, is for equity and fairness. A look at a recent recruitment exercise done some months back by the Department of State Security Service shows that the number of people employed from Northwest alone is more than the number of all the states in the southern region, that is the southeast, the south, and the southwest. Now, but DSS have come out with an explanation to say that they had to balance the lopsided recruitment they did in the past with that. I don't know if you've seen that on social media, where you have about 56 people being recruited in President Buhari's home state, that's Katsina, while in Anambra State and some places like Delta and Edo, you have about 8 people from some of those states. What do you make of that?
You see, everything you are saying boys, it didn't start today. Take, for instance, in the education sector. What is happening in the education sector is a replica of what is happening in the employment sector you are talking of now. You will see an admission process that is going on, which is also published regularly. People from the south will be requested to have about 500 mark, and people from the north would even be less than 100. Is that fairness? It is not fairness. So it's something that has been in existence up until now. Our cry is coming late, but it's better late than never. That is the situation we are on ground now.
Venerable, let me ask you, Nigeria is said to be running a federal system of government, which we imitate from the United States. Do you think, in the real sense of the word, that we are running a federal system of government? To you, as a political analyst, and Director of Civic and Political Affairs. What do you know to be federalism? What people call true federalism?
Well, true federalism, we borrowed what we are doing from the United States, and we can use that to mirror what that of United States to mirror what true federalism is all about. But what I don't know here is whether we are actually practicing true federalism.
So what are we practicing?
I don't know. The government, they are the ones to tell us what we are really practicing, because when you see the way things are run in this very country, then you will know that I think we are not yet there. We are not yet practicing true federalism. And I don't think when you are talking about true federalism, the way power is concentrated at the center, the way it is now, that is how it ought to be, if we really want to make it to be true federalism. I am looking at true federalism like a situation whereby you have a center which really does control, particularly over the military and some key institutions in the country, where other federating states are allowed to exercise some measure of freedom and some measure of independence, and they are able to determine one thing or the other so that they can make progress. I believe that is how it is done in the United States. But in Nigeria, you know that the government is really at the center and not anywhere else.
Okay, let me put you on a hold. Sir, you are a legal luminary. Yeah. What is federalism?
Federalism is a principle of governance where power is shared between the center and the minor states. Majorly, the major powers rest in the center, while the minor states have a little or no powers. But
is that federalism?
That is what it is meant to be.
But that's not what America is practicing.
That is not what America is practicing, because each state in America has its own independent power. The center is there. But the center, I want to tell you, is not in full hold of those states because they have their own laws. But it's not obtainable here. We are still all looking up to the center and trying to get whatever we want from the center. We are not practicing federalism.
I think what is being practiced in the United States is true federalism. But the problem we have here is that we copy and we don't copy fully, or we don't copy right. That is our problem. Power in Nigeria is concentrated in the Nigerian zone.
Is it a unitary system of government then, if it's not federal? What is it?
That is where we can...
Okay, it's a quasi-federal.
Okay.
So what is quasi-federal?
Yes.
That's what it is. It's a quasi-federal.
Partly federal, partly not federal.
Yes.
So the other not federal, what is it? Because people need to know what the country is.
They are in existence without their full powers. That's what it means. If you have a federal system that is not working properly, it is not a federal system. Just like ours. We have a federal system on name, but in practicality, it is not. Because if it is actually working, the states should be able to own some things. Where we copied it from in the America, for instance, each state has its own police. They have their own judicial system. They have so many things on their own. They have their flags. And they still respect the central flag, which is the general flag of America, with the 50 or how many stars that make up the star, showing the component states of each state.
Do you think Nigeria is ripe enough and mature enough to handle that kind of government?
Thank you.
Because that's where the issue lies.
We are not yet matured, but we need to change our system to what we can handle. We cannot handle federalism at this point, because if we can handle it, there won't be all these agitations. If I can walk up from my state, for instance, Imo State, and I go somewhere up north, and I contest election, I win election, I should be admitted
now
into the system.
Sorry.
But because I can't speak the language, and it's identified that this man is not part of us, so we should not give him the free hand or the enabling environment to be part of the system.
Honorable, if we are not practicing federalism, what should we do?
What I want to let me start from here. What do we really mean by we are not matured enough? Are we saying we are not matured enough to do what is right when we know what is right?
Are we?
At the point at which a person knows that this is wrong and this is right, I believe that is the point of maturity. Then go for the right thing and do it. I believe that we are ripe enough. I believe that we have enough educated mind in this country that if we really want to practice true federalism, we can practice it. My own challenge is that we have not someone of what I call political will to do certain things, and it's like a section of the country is presumably holding every person to ransom, and until we look deep into that, things will not go well. I believe that the present unholy marriage and the way it is being practiced in Nigeria and called federalism today, there are persons, there are sectors of this country that are benefiting from it. Otherwise, what does it take to really change a system? What does it take to adjust? What does it take to do what is right?
Very well, let me take you back to what we spoke about earlier. The issue of the quit notice is being taken seriously. Just like 2 days ago, somebody called me and said, "You are in Abuja. What are you doing? When are you coming back?" You know, they started telling stories of how mosques in the east have been sold by the Hausas and how they have fled the eastern part of the country. Now, people who have, all of us are in this country, and we know how an average Hausa Muslim behaves. We have had series of people being killed.
I will hold on. I will cut you short.
Hold on.
Okay.
We've had series of people being killed and hacked to death for doing virtually nothing. And of course, you know the history, the stories of the Fulani herdsmen who are parading everywhere, killing people, you know, entering
and nothing is happening.
And nothing is happening. And somebody is saying you shouldn't take this quit notice seriously. A while ago, the governors of the northern region had a consultation with the acting president in Abuja, and at the end of the day, the governors came out to say they were in control, that they have the youths in control. But up till now, we've not had anybody being arrested or prosecuted for issuing that declaration. We have a video clip we would like you to see where after the governors forum meeting, some of the governors in the meeting said that everything is under control and there should be no cause for alarm, that everywhere you are in Nigeria, you're protected. And people are beginning to ask and wonder, should these men be taken for their words? Are they actually in control of their polity? Let's take a look at it.
The Arewa youth have no mandate to ask any Nigerian to vacate in any part of this nation.
We should all unite to surmount the difficulties that we have. I had issued a statement in my state. I said nobody is given any quit notice. Everybody should stay and enjoy his stay in Plateau State.
I don't think it was something that we should take very seriously, because this young man can be said to be speaking for the North. So I think it's just a way to hit up the system so that it's being handled.
All of us are in this country and we've had crises here and there. What do you make of these assertions, this video?
Anyway, what I can say about this is this. The youths are clamoring for relevance. That is just the bottom line. Why am I saying this? Look, the youths are the crux of the productivity of this country. And if you have that aspect of the population not functioning properly, what do you expect? When you have them all littered on the road, walk out of the studio now and walk on the street. Go to the newspaper stand. You will see them clustered there reading newspapers, doing nothing, arguing over things that are not relevant. Until the government comes to create see the need and importance of inculcating this youth into being useful and productive in the system. If that is not done, we cannot get it right.
Venerable.
Now, if I may come in to analyze that very video, it's not just enough for you to come out as a governor and just use the back of your hand to wave off such declaration. My brother, we need to be serious for once. The question I should ask those governors, what have they put in place in their state as at now to checkmate whatever these youths are planning to do, assuming they were to make good their own threat? See, we are not proactive in this country. People issue that kind of dangerous statement that is rocking the whole country. None of them have been arrested, and we cannot see any of them be prosecuted. But people in other parts of the country have made lesser statements before, and they were incarcerated for some time. So, and nothing is being done.
So are you saying the government...
Hold on. The severally youth have descended on innocent people in the north and kill as many people as they want to kill. How many have you had were prosecuted? How many went behind the bar? The 2011 post-election violence that rocked the whole north, many souls were lost, businesses were destroyed. How many people were prosecuted for it? What is the deterrent that is there to make these people not to make good their threat if they really want to make it good? And how can we just wave a thing like this off when we have something like the Boko Haram? Look at how Boko Haram started. These people are having support from outside. We know these threats are all over the world. Before, see, let me tell you, when in our area, they say when a small child shoots a gun and he actually fired, you know that an adult loaded that very gun.
So you're
can you leave this to yourself because you have this platform now? You can reach out to the whole world and say, let me make declaration. All Hausas should leave the eastern part of this country and give you their deadline. Before a person comes out to make such a statement, please, my brother, don't underrate such people. Go after them, arrest them, find out what is the extent of the plan to make do their threat. Find out who are the powers behind such a threat. Find out, is it politically motivated? Is it religiously motivated? What have these governors done before they come to the air? We are too fond of coming to the air to just make a statement. If something wants to happen tomorrow, according to the threat, what are they going to do? How are the police being mobilized? How are the military and all the paramilitary agencies being mobilized to ensure that what steps are being taken now to make sure to send a signal to whoever was thinking they will make good the threat, to make them understand that if you try such nonsense by come October 1st, that you are not going to go scot-free. So it's not enough to just come and make a statement to just calm nerves down. No. What are the concrete steps being taken?
So what should be the concrete steps?
I've just indirectly mentioned some. The first step that would have been taken is to record those people in.
Well, the government gave an order for them to be arrested.
Have they been arrested? Are they not in this country?
Whose job is it? You're very close to the National Assembly. You should be the one to tell us what should be done.
It's not the National Assembly that's
the National Assembly are not the ones to arrest.
Are they the ones to arrest?
They have given. I'm not saying you're very close to the government more than some of us who are here, the ordinary people. So what step?
I'm an ordinary man. So, but the point is, it's not the National Assembly's duty to arrest criminals. The government, the executive,
a bill. They should raise a motion in the House that people shouldn't, hit up the polity with hate.
No, in fairness to the National Assembly, they reacted immediately. I give them, I dug my car for them, because for once I saw how they reacted immediately. I think 2 days or so after the threat, one session was devoted to discussing the unity of the country and the threat from these very people, and all of them spoke eloquently and very well on the issue. But the point is, the arm of government that's supposed to arrest these people, have they done what they're supposed to do? Are these no people who made this statement, are they sacred cows too?
Okay.
Why are they not arrested?
That's the question.
Then what are the contingency arrangements being made in case anything happens? What are the arrangements being put in place? Those are the things.
Venerable, are you afraid that anything is capable of happening?
Anything is capable of happening, and many things have happened in this nation before. And we should learn, because we need to put a very high price on the life of the citizens of this country. We need to value people's life. You don't need to wait for no innocent blood to be shed again before we begin to run helter-skelter. It will be too late then.
Okay, Barrister, some people are saying that...
you know, sorry, just to put this thing in. Do you know why is it IPOB and the people in the West and in the Niger Delta, OPC and all that, why they came out and started making it? Is because government didn't do what they're supposed to do. If government has taken drastic action overnight on that very issue, every other sector of the country will keep quiet and know that, oh, we have a government at the center who will not allow that kind of a thing to materialize. It's because of the weakness of government and the way we handle things with levity. That is why you see other people are also coming out with their own declarations.
All right, sir. The constitution which we run our country with is said to be weak and not people-oriented. You know, it gives a lot of powers to the government officials, to the senators and all of that. Do you think reviewing our constitution will be a panacea to some of these problems we are encountering here?
I quite agree with you. Yes, because that constitution was made under the military rule. There were no input from the citizens. The military came together, gathered some people, and created the constitution for us. And I'm happy we are running a democratic system now that we are putting the constitution into use. That is why we are now seeing the lapses in that constitution. And it's a panacea, like you said, in resolving these issues. If we can create an enablement for the ordinary people to come and make an input. And I learned that this process had begun in the past. But you know, the problem in this part of the country is that when you start a process, you don't know how it ends. Probably it's been swept under the carpet.
That has always been our problem.
Nobody is talking about it anymore. But if we actually want to get out of this wood, we need to do something about the constitution and make it fair. It is not enough to say this is we gathered as the same people in one country to make a constitution for ourselves. It is not enough.
Do you think this marriage called Nigeria shouldn't have been in the first place? Some people call it the mistake of the white man.
Yes, if you call it whatever name you want to give it, it's already there in existence. What do? We make amend what you have on ground. You cannot recreate what has already been created.
What kind of amend are you?
You make mention of the 2014 confab. Let the report come up. Let us even see how many Nigerians
are allowed to even know
what that confab
look into the content.
People are just talking about this report on the confab. Do you know what it is? You might see a doctored one that is being. Let us see the raw material as it is and let people make input. You don't expect. What they are meant to do is to give us a guideline, and then let's produce what will make us governable and unite in one piece.
Sir, an environmentalist and human rights activist from the south region of Nigeria, IPOB, says that it may be difficult, or if possible, undoable, if I should use that word, for us to restructure right now, because according to her, it is too late. Do you think it's too late for us to restructure?
I heard her speaking when she was addressing the press, but I feel that it's not too late. It's not too late. If we really love this nation and we want this nation to move forward and we want this nation to remain a strong nation, there's need to revisit the 2014 confab report, and whatever it contains, it should be used to restructure Nigeria the way it should be done. And that confab report had the consensus of every nook and cranny of this very country. Every interest was, represented. And so, if those who love Nigeria must, clamor for the visiting of that very report and the implementation of that very report. Do you know why that confab really took place? It was because President Jonathan didn't want the prediction of the Americans to come to pass. That Nigeria was going to disintegrate either before or in 2015. And that confab report really doused tension. Because people believe that, we have been given opportunity to dialogue, and everyone was hoping that something good. Do you know why the tension, how it doused the tension? People were expecting that if Jonathan had come back, in fact, he made it as one of his political campaign
no man's blood.
Yes, and he said he will implement that very report. That doused tension. It is not refusal to implement the report now that is bringing up all these things now.
We'll have to stop here. If you're just joining us, this is Christians in Politics coming to you from the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN. Some of you who joined us on Facebook Live said some of the questions and comments we have. Somebody's asking a question, Venerable. What should be Christians' role or reaction to the issue of restructuring and agitations?
Well, we need to pray for this country. We need to pray for our leaders to take the right decisions at the right time. I think we owe the government prayer irrespective of the political party you belong to. If you are a Christian, pray for leaders. In my church, the parish where I am, we pray for President Buhari, we pray for his healing, we pray for the acting president Osibajo, for God to direct them so that they take the actions that we redeem this very nation from destruction.
In 30 seconds, Barrister, what should we do if we are to restructure? To what extent are we to restructure? And what kind of restructuring are we going to? Regionalism? What kind of restructuring are we going back to? Or should we go back to?
Before I answer that question,
in 30
seconds, I want to support the Venerable that beyond prayers, Christians will also be educated what is needed in the issue of restructuring. Prayer is part of it, but understanding what you want to restructure for is one. If we are restructuring, there should be equality. Distribution should be equal. If you are giving the man from the north one, give the man from the south one, everybody will be happy. Let the governance and administration of this country be on equal platform. Don't favor one side. You gave us an instance of Katsina having 56 in the employment that was recently made. Is it right? Are they the ones who have the most qualified?
The federal character, whatever.
Does it exist?
Yeah, it does.
Are you sure it does exist? If it does exist, why should the state have 56? A place where you are booking adverts.
Who is in charge? Who is controlling what?
Honorable, your last word before we go because of our
Well, there's no last word in Nigeria matter. Well, we have talked enough for today.
Yes.
We don't want bloodshed.
We don't want bloodshed.
Government should be on their toe to save the lives of Nigerians. And those who made that threat should be brought to book. And that will pacify other groups that are rising up.
Do you have any advice for people living in the north?
Well, for people who live in the north, I think they have lived in the north. They have experienced things over time, and they should be more careful, and they should pray harder. They should pray harder.
Okay. Viewers, this is where we will call it a day on today's edition of Christians in Politics, where we discussed the marriage of the country Nigeria and how we can live better, having fairness and equity in the country. I have been discussing with Barrister Chris Monica, who is the Principal Officer of Intergenerations Solicitors here in Abuja. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. And the Venerable Joseph Unoy, who is the Director of Civic and Political Affairs in the Church of Nigeria and the Chaplain to the National Assembly. Thank you so much for coming, sir.
Thank you for having me.
We do hope you enjoyed every bit of it. We ask you to join us same time, same station for a better package as we hope to get this matter settled in one piece. I am Chukwuemeka Anyakwa. Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you.